This is a real story, and it happened in a place millions of Americans use every single day without thinking twice. This didn't happen in a movie, it didn't come from a legend, and it wasn't created for entertainment. There are no actors in this story, only real people and real fear. What you're about to hear happened inside the New York City subway, deep beneath the streets, late at night, when the platforms are almost empty, when the noise fades away, and when the city above finally goes sleep. Some subway workers refuse to walk alone during those hours, not because of crime, not because of accidents, but because they say they're not alone down there. In 2017, a maintenance worker named Daniel was assigned what was described as a routine inspection. Daniel had worked underground for over 6 years, and during that time he had seen almost everything: broken rails twisted from old accidents, flooded tunnels filled with dark water, and even rats so large they barely moved out of the way when workers passed. Nothing scared him anymore, or at least that's what he believed. That night, his supervisor handed him a thin file with very little information inside. There was only one location listed, only one tunnel, buried deep beneath Manhattan. Daniel noticed something strange immediately. The tunnel had been officially closed for more than 30 years. There were no active trains running through it, no cameras installed, and no scheduled maintenance listed in the system. When Daniel asked why it suddenly needed inspection, his supervisor paused, avoiding eye contact, before quietly saying, "Just check it, and don't stay long." Daniel entered the tunnel just after midnight. The entrance was hidden behind a locked steel door that most workers didn't even know existed. When the door opened, cold air rushed out, not the normal damp cold of an underground space, but a sharp, unnatural chill that crawled across his skin. His flashlight cut through the darkness, reveal old cables hanging loosely from the ceiling and walls cracked with age. Water dripped somewhere far away, each drop echoing through the tunnel like a slow heartbeat. There was no signal, no radio connection, no way to contact anyone above ground. It was just Daniel and the tunnel. As he walked deeper, the familiar sounds of the city vanished completely. No trains, no vibrations, no distant rumble. Only his footsteps and his breathing filled the space. About 20 minutes into the inspection, Daniel heard something else. Footsteps. Not his. Slow, heavy footsteps echoing behind him. He stopped walking, and the footsteps stopped too. Daniel turned around, shining his flashlight down the tunnel, but there was nothing there. The tunnel was empty. No movement, no shadows, nothing. He told himself it was just his imagination. Old tunnels make noise, air shifts, metal expands. He kept walking, trying to ignore the tension tightening in his chest. That's when the footsteps returned, matching his pace exactly. Step for step. Daniel's heart began to race. He stopped again, and once again the footsteps stopped. Whatever it wasn't random. It was listening. Then the lights flickered. Just once. And in that brief moment of darkness, Daniel saw something standing at the far end of the tunnel. A figure. Too tall, too thin, with arms hanging unnaturally long at its sides. Its head was tilted slightly, as if it were studying him. It didn't move, it didn't breathe. And it didn't make a sound. Daniel blinked, and the lights stabilized. The figure was gone. But something felt worse. The footsteps had stopped completely. Whatever had been following him was no longer walking. It was standing still, and it was closer than before. Panic took over. Daniel ran. He didn't look back, he didn't think about protocol, and he didn't care about the inspection anymore. His flashlight bounced wildly as he sprinted through the tunnel, barely illuminating the path ahead. Behind him, he heard something else. Not footsteps this time, but dragging, like something heavy being pulled slowly across concrete. He pushed himself harder. Lungs burning, heart pounding, until he finally reached the steel door and slammed it shut behind him. When he collapsed against the wall outside the tunnel, the sound stopped instantly. The tunnel was silent again. Too silent. Daniel filed his report the next morning, but when it was officially submitted, parts of it were missing. Entire paragraphs describing what he heard and what he saw had been removed. The tunnel was officially marked, no further access required. 2 weeks later, Daniel quit his job. He never returned underground. And here's the disturbing part. When independent records were later checked, that tunnel had been sealed in 1989 after another worker disappeared during a late-night inspection. No body was ever found. No explanation was given. Only a short note remained in the archive. It read, "Movement detected after hours." Some say the subway never forgets, and some people never leave it. If you want more real stories like this one, subscribe. Because beneath the cities we trust are places we were never meant to explore. Remember, not everything beneath the streets is safe, not every tunnel is empty, and not every disappearance is explained. There are shadows that linger long after the trains have stopped, footsteps that echo without origin, and watchers that see without being seen. The subway carries millions of people every day, but beneath the surface, it carries secrets that. Remember that what you can't see may already be watching. And sometimes, the city above sleeps, but the world below never rests. The echoes of the past linger in the tunnels, and those who wander too far may never truly leave. Keep your lights on, stay alert, and never ignore the silence, because some places are alive in ways you cannot imagine. The subway is more than a transit system. It is a living maze, filled with memories, fears, and things that should not be disturbed. Listen closely, and you might hear footsteps that aren't yours. Look carefully, and you might glimpse something just beyond the light. And when you think you are alone, remember that you may not be. Some stories are meant to be told, some are meant to be felt, and some are meant to warn. This is one of those stories. It is real, it happened, and it is waiting in the dark beneath the streets you walk every